Hi guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. If you don't know me, well, I've been driving for Prime for 4 years. I am a certified team trainer, an over-the-road reefer driver, a published author, and a moderator on truckingtruth.com. Yep, that's a mouthful, and I got it out. Woohoo! I might not even have to edit that. But I am going to be posting on Mondays and Thursdays, so make sure you please subscribe, ring the little notification bell so you get my next video. And today we're going to be talking about spouses teaming. I got a few questions asked about, how does it work and whether it's a good idea and can they make money. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, so stay tuned. Okay, I got a couple questions about spouses training and teaming together. So I thought I'd take this time to answer a couple of these questions. Now, the first thing is, yes, a lot of companies will allow you to do the schooling together when you have your permit and then take the tests at the same time. Most companies are going to put you one-on-one with a trainer after you get your CDL, and you're not going to be able to stay together as, training that way. So because of that, some women feel funny and they're like, oh, I don't want to be on a truck with a guy who's not my husband, blah, blah, blah. Some couples will decide that the husband goes out first and gets trained first, and then when he's qualified at his company, it might be 6 months to a year later, then the wife will come in and she'll get trained by the spouse. Now that works for a lot of couples, so you might be interested in that. If not, really, what's the big deal about her going on a truck with somebody else? It's not like she's gonna be forced on a truck with a man. She could very well be with a woman. And then what happens is, people wind up upgrading at different times. Different things happen. You get different miles and that sort of thing, your hours, or however the company does it. So whoever upgrades first will then upgrade, go through that process, get the truck, and when the spouse winds up doing so, then they just come on the truck. So one might have to run the truck solo for a little bit until the other spouse completes their training and then upgrades, and they would be together. So those are the two different ways that you can wind up going through training. You could either have one go first and then that person trains you completely, or you could both go to the schooling together, separate into different training trucks over the road, and then come back and upgrade and go out together on your truck. One of the things that really struck me at Prime was that there were a lot of husbands that were bringing their wives in, and all of the husbands had worked there for at least 5 years, and they brought the wives in and trained them. That said to me, wow, this is a good company. Let's face it, every single one of you watching this knows, if a man brought his wife into a bad company, even if they were only there for 5 minutes, she'd be nagging him for the rest of his life. He'd have to put up with that until Jesus Christ came back from, for his second coming. Seriously. So that was like the first indication to me that this was a good company, because there's no way that a man is going to risk that kind of torment. Sorry, ladies, it's true. And I talked in my sexism video that's up there about the percentages of women coming out into trucking. It's really going up, and I think a lot of that is due to husband-wife teams. So usually they're in their 40s to 50s. The kids are already grown, they're out in college, or they're already married and they're out of the house, so it's easier for both spouses to come out on the road. One thing that's really cool about doing that is, say your daughter has a baby. She gets married and she has a baby. If the wife, or the husband, whichever, wants to come off the truck for a few months and stay with them, or say the grandkids are off for the summer and they're home from school, one person can actually go and spend the summer with your kids and your grandkids, and then yes, you're going to have to go through the hiring process with your company again, but let's face it, most of them are just going to take you back if you're a safe driver and you already have a truck that you can go to. I don't suggest doing that until after you've already have your first year completed, but that's an option. And I've seen a lot of wives do this. A lot of grandmothers do this. You know, sometimes what'll happen is the wife will go off the road, go be with the grandkids for the summer. Their husband will then take a trainee or a student, and he's still making, now he's making more money. They're not, it makes up for the loss of her being off the truck. So that's an option, and people don't think about that, but it gives you a way to also get off the truck and get a break and not be burnt out. Ask your company that you're looking into if that's a possibility. I mean, I've seen people do it at Prime all the time, so I don't understand. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work at another company. However, when you get off the road, you're going to lose your benefits. But if you're married, say the wife gets off the truck and the husband is a company driver, then she's still covered under the husband's medical benefits as a company driver. It's different for lease ops. And if you watch my lease op video, you know that I don't recommend leasing to new people. But what happens at my company is the lease op is in charge of the truck and winds up paying their spouse as the teammate. But that teammate is considered a company driver, which means she is entitled to the insurance benefits and everything. So as a lease op, he's not entitled to insurance benefits, but as her spouse of a company driver, he's covered under her insurance. But then if she gets off the truck for the summer to go play with those grandkids, they lose their medical benefits. Both of them. They're no longer covered because she's not entitled to medical benefits anymore. So these are some things to think about. When it comes to training spouses, you have to understand, is it going to be easier for a spouse to train a spouse with your relationship? Or is it going to be harder? You know, one couple friend of mine, she really felt like her husband was nastier to her and didn't have the patience for her that he did with his normal students, his other students. You know, and he felt more comfortable criticizing his wife than he did a stranger. So whether or not you want your spouse to train or you want to train your spouse is going to come down to what is your relationship like? What is that dynamic like? You know, is it going to create so much friction that you guys you're fighting all the time and you don't get past it? You know, these are some of the things you have to think about. I have a friend who, the way they do it, he's the lease op, she's the company driver. She has his, you know, he's insured through her health benefits. And in front of the curtain, she's an employee. He treats her like an employee. Behind the curtain, she's a wife. That's how they do it. I have other friends that they split up duties where it's her job to figure out their routing and manage their time and do their paperwork, and it's his job to do all the guy stuff like backing up and cleaning out trailers and crawling under things and things like that and getting dirty, you know. But those are things that you have to think about. Some of that I think I talked about in one of the other teaming videos, is that sometimes, you know, the men like to take care of the women. So, you know, if you're a woman who goes out with your husband, it's possible that you could be doing yourself a disservice if you're constantly letting him do the backing. You know, if he's constantly just saying, get up, let me do it, and you're not learning, would you be able to go out on your own? That's something you want to think about. If you're both company drivers and one of you has to go like say go out for surgery, you know, you're both entitled to the health benefits as company drivers. So one goes out and you still have the insurance. You know, if you can give up your home and the two of you are teaming together, you could be banking a lot of money. So, you know, just make sure that you're in that kind of relationship where you can deal with it. Is your wife a jealous type? Is your husband a jealous type? You know, if you're in the line at Arby's and somebody says hello to you, is your spouse going to turn around and start, oh, who was that? What were you looking at her for? Oh, did you get his number? You better not have his number in your, you know. You don't need to be put up with that. If you have a spouse that's jealous at home, they're really going to be jealous out here on the road. If you're the kind of volatile relationship where you guys argue and fight all the time, living in this box is going to make it worse. I know 3 different couples where one of them threw the others out at a truck stop and left them. Then had to call the company and ask for somebody to come down and pick them up for a ride back. You know, companies don't want to be involved with your domestic disputes. You know, and even if you're not going to go teaming, or, okay, imagine you're going to go teaming, but you decide you want to come out here first, and you're going to train your wife. If she's jealous, I know somebody whose girlfriend heard the Qualcomm talking, and it's a female voice, and she didn't talk to him for 3 days because she thought there was a woman on the truck. It was the GPS. That's not the kind of woman you want to be with out here on the road. Whatever your dynamic of your relationship, you know, male, female, guy, female, whatever, you know, you have to think about how you guys get along when you're at home. If you get along good, then this could be good. If you're fighting and on the edge of divorce, maybe because one of you was cheating, well, that might save your marriage to come out here, because then you're together all the time. But it might make it harder too, because, you know, it's just, you're together all the time. Every little thing can set you off if you're in that kind of relationship, or if you're at least you're in that stage of a relationship where you need to work on things. So that's my thought of husband-wife teams. Can it be a great thing? Absolutely. Some of these people, I'm jealous because they get along so well, and they're like all cute and like in their 60s, and they're walking, holding hands and going into the truck stops, and you know, it's nice to sit down and have a meal together. But at the same time, you don't always get as much time together as you think you will. You know, one person is back there for at least 6 to 8 hours. One is sleeping while the other one's driving. You know, even if somebody's up here talking for a little bit, they're gonna have to sleep while you're up. So it's, you know, you have to come up with a rhythm and a flow. But I'm sure it could be fun. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it could be fun. One of my former students told me that what he misses about, you know, about training was that we would sit down and go to like Denny's or a restaurant, and we'd sit down and talk and laugh, and he kind of misses that type of breakup of his day, because I always put it right in the middle of his drive shift. And any of you that watched that video knows that I have somewhat of a quirky sense of humor. So I keep him laughing. Even now, I haven't seen him in a couple years, but we still talk and we still laugh. So can you make money out here? Absolutely. Can you enjoy it out here? Absolutely. I would imagine that taking home time across the country, or 34s where there are things to do, would be much more fun with your spouse or your partner or whatever than being alone. And I have gone and, you know, I've dated somebody that we would follow each other all over the country, and it broke up. Being out here on the road, it prevents burnout. It would probably be a lot easier to have a spouse out here, because then you're not worried about that person at home. You're not worried about feeling neglectful of them. You're not worried about them feeling neglected. So in that aspect, it might actually strengthen your relationship a lot. Those are my thoughts. If you disagree or agree with me, make sure you comment below. Please subscribe, like, share, ring the little notification bell, and I will see you out here trucking along. Bye.